Hi there, welcome to the Fruitful Bee. Welcome to my mini shop where I manufacture my Cottage 22 hole wooden clean out for the mason bee. You will find it will actually capture some leaf cutters as well. They have to stuff the hole full of leaves because they're so tiny, but they'll do it. Right now we are in a season where we need to be getting our houses up, getting them cocooned, as it'll be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the males will start to emerge. So I wanted to go over some nesting material with you, nesting blocks. One thing is, what to look for is something that you can clean out. The bamboo is kind of nice and it looks neat. It's all different sizes and that. We can't clean it out though. So if you get a predator inside there, or a parasitic wasp or something like that, or the fly inside, you can't find it before it hatches again because they can overwinter as adults. The parasitic wasp can overwinter as an adult or a larva. The Houdini fly will overwinter as a larva. And of course, there's the pollen mites that overwinter as larvae. Well, no, I guess they're not larvae. They look like larvae, but they're not. They're little teeny spiders. So, if we don't clean those out, we actually harm nature because we are increasing the food source for these parasites by increasing our mason bee population. So the parasitic population goes up, and if they can't get in their food taken care of by eating enough mason bees, they're going to go elsewhere, and they're going to go elsewhere anywhere to hunt. So they're now going to be going into the ground dwelling bees, the hole boring, any other boring bees, bumblebees, you name it. They're going to be hitting the other pollinators that are already having a hard time, and parasitizing them. So it really, if we're going to increase the food source for these parasites, we need to decrease the parasitic population that we are kind of inadvertently increasing. So, number one nesting material for mason bees are tubes. They like round, and these tubes are fantastic. There are lots of different ways to make these tubes, and you can find it all over the place on the internet. If you stack up a bunch of different types of nesting blocks, they will fill these up first, 100%. They're also very easy to clean out. You just soak them in water for 20 minutes, half an hour. Cold water, please don't use warm water, you'll wake them up. And you just peel them apart. They're really easy to work with. So there's been a number of different people try to imitate round with wood as a kind of best of both worlds. So what I have is grooves, and this is very common. I probably see it easier that way. Grooves that they can go into. They are 3/16. This is one of my commercial blocks, so that makes it easier to see. They're a 5/16 routed groove. You can see it goes all the way through. And so they will fill this up, and then you can clean it out, scrape it out, burn it out when it's done. And that is something that they love. It's wood as well, so it breathes really well. So what I thought was, okay, if they love tubes and they love wood, why not drill router half a groove in the wood, put it together, and get a circle? Because they definitely like circles better than the grooves, the grooves. The problem is these are really hard to line up, so I haven't figured that quite out yet. How to make them line up easily so that you can buy one, take it apart, and put it back together, and it not be looking like this one does when it just sits. Yeah. Nothing's going to use that. They're just irregular holes. They're too small. So I have to figure something out. I'll use these here in my home to see how they work. But super easy to clean out, and I think they'll love it. There's been some other folks who have tried this as well, and the same thing. They're just not well done, so they're not round. They're really hard to get lined up. even if they are lined up, they aren't round. So they're kind of an oval shape. So they're too small for the bee. One of the Costco houses I had cocoon, bamboo on one side, a little butterfly thing on top, little red house, that one. A lot of people bought it. Looks really cute. And what I did was I took out the cocoon, took out the bamboo, because I had it one year and I had bees seeded in it. You can put cocoons in the butterfly house on top, and then the butterflies will go in and use it later. So all my cocoons hatched, 30 cocoons, not one went into the house. And that's just because they're not round. They're more hexagonal, and they're just not well made. Like, this is a big crack here. So it's not it's not an eighth of an inch, but those little wasps, they don't need much room. You should see the hole they come out of. It's about the size of a pinhead. That's what they crawl out of. So they could easily crawl through these cracks and get into the cocoons next door and just lay their eggs like crazy. I had this in a nest where I took all of the bamboo out and I stacked the side with tubes, and I left the block in there and filled it up with a couple hundred. So too many, but I had a whole ton last year, and I wish I'd not done it. They filled up the tubes, and they filled up half of the blocks because they were just desperate for holes. Problem is, I probably lost, I don't know, 5% probably to the mono wasp who just attacked the tubes, because they can drill through the cardboard very easily. So if these tubes are just put in a bundle and hung out somewhere, or put in a box, the mono wasp comes along and she goes with her little feelers along, and then when she finds some movement inside, which is the pupating mason bee moving around, she sticks her ovipositor, drills it through the cardboard with no problem at all, paralyzes the little grub, and then lays her eggs in there, who then eat everything, and it's a big mess. There's also some plastic ones out there which are really nice because the holes are perfect. They're really nice. Just be aware that mason bees are little animals, they're insects, so they perspire and they expire, and there is moisture it comes out of them. So if you don't get those ones cleaned out fairly early in the summertime, they will you get a lot of mold and you'll lose a lot because of that. These ones, this one here is a year old. That's why it's looking a bit rough. It's got some color to it. The mason bees will love this next year because it has some odor to it already. You can take this out of the nesting house, remove it, and put the whole thing in your fridge. Leave it in there for, in a box with a humidifier. I just use you put this in a box, Ziploc bag with a wet paper towel, sitting on top of it. That will keep, even in your crisper, that will keep things humid enough that these guys will be just super happy because they're encased inside here. So you really probably don't even have to worry too much about it at all. Then in February, you can take it out, clean it out, sort them out. There's not going to be any mildew, any mold. They've been in their natural environment for that time, and you don't have to worry about them drying out in your fridge. You just leave them in this. So that makes it very easy. You wouldn't want to do that with a plastic one, as they would just totally mildew out. So lots of options out there. None of them are horrible. They do have, some have drawbacks. If you can't clean them out, really you're not helping nature at all if you don't clean them out, because you're increasing the parasitic level, and that doesn't help things out at all. So all the best in your bee ranching, and I hope you get lots of fruit this year, and I'm praying that it's going to be a good spring and it's going to warm up and stay warm so that these little guys can get busy and give us lots of fruit and give us lots more bees for next year. Fruitful Bee, out to do some more beekeeping and bee hunting. Have a good afternoon.